Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome to Emergency Management Associates, coming to you from the Area Command, 392 miles west of Kitty Hawk Beach, North Carolina. As we've been doing for some time, we're going to start off this evening's broadcast with a salute to the United States of America. I would ask you all now to stand, please stand, and prepare for the Pledge of Allegiance and the United States National Anthem.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now would you make welcome, straight from Washington, D.C., the United States Army Corps Quartet.
Yeah.
Oh, say can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Oh, yeah! Come on, folks, let them know it.
America's finest, the United States Army Barbershop Quartet, performing at the Barbershop Quartet Convention in 2015. The host of the Barbershop Quartet Convention gave us the Pledge of Allegiance, and of course, the Army military here, the Barbershop Quartet gave us the national anthem. We really appreciate this so much. God bless all of our military members around the globe, wherever they might be. Army, Navy, Marine Corps, Air Force, Space Force, and Coast Guard. Bless them all. Bless all of our military allies around the globe as well. We thank them for their service. We ask the Lord to protect them and to bring them home after their tours of duty end. God bless you all, and thank you all for your service. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. We appreciate it. Folks, we've been talking about a lot of things over the past week. Actually, the last 2 weeks. Renee talked about an echo. I hope we do not have an echo now. I don't know what may have caused that. I was going through when the barbershop quartet was singing our national anthem, I was looking at all the elements of our program, and I could not figure out why there was an echo. Dee Dee is saying echo, echo, echo. Oh, crud. I wonder what's going on here. Oh, my gosh. Let me check something. Okay, guys, do we have an echo now? Do we have an echo now? Folks, do we have an echo now? I'm hoping we do not. Al Sanchez said good now, thank you. Heidi Petrick says no. Yeah, I think we may have solved the problem. Thank you so much, everybody. Anyway, we've been talking a lot about earthquakes. We've been talking about volcanic eruptions all throughout this week. We've been talking about earthquakes around the world. We talked about Cascadia earthquakes last night. Earlier this week, we talked about the New Madrid Fault. The New Madrid Fault continues to move today. USGS is still not laying claim to any of the earthquakes, or should I say not reporting them. That's okay, because we find them, and if it's serious enough, I will report on it. But at least once a week we'll talk about Cascadia. I want to talk at least once a week about what's going on in the New Madrid Fault. Every day during the given week, if there's seismic energy, and I'm talking about large seismic energy, 5.0 and larger, including 6.0, 7.0, 8, 9, 10.0 magnitude earthquakes, we will report them. We'll be back on that we came on every day during the week and talked about what was going on around the world. I want to also add, if and when a major event happens, we will be back on the air to tell you about it on the week as soon as the information becomes available. That's been our mantra since we first began 4.5 years ago. Heidi Petrick just gave us a 99-cent super chat. Thank you so much, Heidi. God bless you for that. We appreciate it so much. All your donations we appreciate very, very much. We will be on the air to talk about anything that's going on. That's been our mantra. That's been our modus operandi, our method of operation. We will always be on the air when something major happens. We've always been. First tonight, before we get into earthquakes, I told you that Linda Covington had sent us a Christmas present, a few. We appreciate Linda. We appreciate it very much. One of the biggest things that she gave us was this book called Country Wisdom and Lore. Country Wisdom and Lore. Thousands of traditional skills for simple living. I've been looking through this book. This is a fantastic book, and I highly recommend to everybody to get this. Living skills. Emergency preparedness and everyday living skills. This book is awesome. It goes back and gives a little history on some of the things that you need to do. It talks about first aid. It talks about what to do with paint and paper. It talks about outdoor gear. Outdoor gear. Who would have thunk? What would you need outdoor gear for? It talks about how to fish and what you might need to fish. Hook, line, sinker. Bugs and such. It talks about different bugs and what they may carry, and also how they might be able to help us. It goes through birds, talking about birds, creatures of the countryside, creatures of the countryside, including an armadillo. Now, the only place I've ever seen an armadillo is in a zoo. Okay? But we did see a possum here about a year and a half ago. Quite honestly, this possum I will never ever forget it. I came home and my dogs were barking. And normally Chihuahuas bark. That's what they do. But in this case, there was a possum on the other side of my sliding glass door to my patio. The possum had ripped up one side of my screen door. Ripped up the screen. I had never thought about that before. The possum looked at me as I opened the blind so I can see more clearly what the possum was doing. Now, normally possums would run. They would run like the devil. This possum stuck around for a little while. That's a picture of Mr. Possum. That's a picture of Mr. Possum. The possums, honestly, guys, don't like to be bothered by us. They stay away from us for the most part. Some people have domesticated possums and have made them friends, pets. Yes, that's a possibility. I had a possum a lot of years ago when I was in my 30s. My children had a dog that was part miniature greyhound and one other mix. I don't remember what it was. A beautiful little dog. And that possum ripped up my dog's neck and we thought it was going to die. I took it to the vet. The vet took care of my puppy dog and bandaged her up, and within 2 or 3 days the vet said my dog was cowering in a corner, didn't want to be around anyone, and said we better come down to the vet's office as soon as possible because the dog may not live. Well, folks, we got surprised by our little dog. As soon as we showed up, our dog came to the front of the cage where they had it and wanted all the attention and love that she could get. The doctor said, I guess she was lonely. She missed us. That is exactly what our dogs do. Why am I telling you this story? Possums are not always our friends. When confronted by animals or people, the possum may attack you. You need to be aware of that. Okay? But this book that Linda Covington sent over for Christmas is a good book, and we really appreciate having it. Now, Susan, and some of you know who I'm talking about, S. Nord on the chat sent us a Christmas present that arrived yesterday evening. I went over to the post office and picked it up this morning. Hurricane Heather says coons and possums will attack you. Oh yeah, they will. Anyway, S. Nort sent us a magic 8-ball. A magic 8-ball. This is a very unique 8-ball though. It's not the normal 8-ball that you would see. Let me open this container. And let you see the outside of this 8-ball. I was completely surprised because Susan had perfected this 8-ball for us, for me in particular. Now, how did I get it out before? I don't want to break the packaging necessarily, but I'm going to get this out. Here I go. Okay. I want to show you this. This is cool. I'm going to hold it up to the camera. Okay? It says crystal ball. On this end of it, it says Ron's crystal ball. Isn't that cool? Susan doctored this 8-ball and made it mine. It's really cool. It really is. It's got the symbol for an atom here, right there. It's just a very cool thing. Okay? Down here at the bottom, it says, made by Acme. Susan, I want to thank you for that. This is my crystal ball. For some of you that haven't always been with me the entire 4.5 years here, I've always told you that I don't know everything. A lot of people think I do. And I've told people that I do not have a crystal ball. The only thing that I come close to having as a way of looking into anything is my water bottle. My water bottle doesn't tell me squat, except if we have a tremor. Then the water inside my glass filter case here will jiggle. It's only moving now because I'm holding it. Okay? No, I don't have a crystal ball that I look into to research anything going on. Yes, we do talk about volcanoes. We do talk about volcanoes. We talk about all kinds of things erupting from the sun. We talk a little about everything. But I now have a crystal ball. It's a magic 8-ball. Let me shake it up here. Okay? While I'm shaking it up, I'm going to ask a question of the magic 8-ball or my crystal ball. Okay? I'm going to ask it, are we going to have a major event in the United States? Over on this 8-ball, it is saying don't count on it. It says don't count on it. It disappeared, I'm sorry. Don't count on it. I love it. Susan, thank you for that. She sent us quite a few other things that I'm going to show you. It's really cool. For those of you that have been with me over a long period of time, you know I love trains. You know I have quite a fancy for all kinds of trains. Linda Covington says she has a Crystal Cube Square. That's cool. That's cool. Anyway, Susan sent me this model train. She said it had a history of being made for children during the 40s and 50s. And she was exactly right. These old trains are no longer being made. But I own one now, and I own some other cars to go with it. Okay? A small container car that had casks attached to it that probably shipped whiskey around on the rails. I'll just briefly take this out to show you. I'm loving this. I cannot wait to set it up. Now this train probably won't run. This train probably will never run. But that's okay. That's completely fine and dandy. I will set it up for people to see it. People that come over to our house, I will show them what great things we have here. Okay? Give me a second while I pull some tape off here. Oh shoot. Oh, there we go. I want to show you this. This little car here. This little car here transported people on the rails way back in the day. Probably in the 30s and 40s. Transported them short distances. I don't think they would transport them over a long haul. But possibly between stations from one town to another. This is really cool. Susan, thank you for that. We have a bunch of other cars here as well. So I'm just going to put this car back in here for now. But just to give you an idea of the kind of rails that came with this railroad. I'm going to pull out one of the rails that fits together with other rails, okay? Nowadays, these rails that the trains run on, whatever the scale, the rails are usually anywhere from 8 to 10 inches long. Not in this case. Okay? These are old train rails from way back in the day. These are no longer made now. So I am one lucky guy that has an antique railroad. I love it. Albert Sanchez says, Ron, remember Engineer Bill at KTTV 11, Channel 11, Los Angeles? I do. Red light, green light. I very well remember him. He was famous literally around the country. His show was syndicated even up into Idaho. So yes, I saw him and I became very much enamored with railroad trains even back then. Hurricane Heather says that's the coolest thing. S. Nort also sent us a donation, which I greatly appreciate. We really appreciate you for doing that. Several other people have told me they're sending donations or other packages, which I want you to know how much I appreciate that. Okay? I love you guys. I appreciate you for all that you do for me. It's a wonderful thing that I have such wonderful family and friends that help me and my family live the kind of life that we'd like to. It's kind of hard sometimes when you're on a fixed income. Yes, I am on Medicare. Some of you may know exactly what I'm talking about. It's hard. But you guys help the me make sure that we keep this show on the air. I greatly appreciate it. Aubrey sends us a donation once or twice a month. I appreciate that. Heather says she's on SSI. She knows about it too. I just want you to know how much I love and appreciate each one of you. Heather sent us a beautiful Christmas card about a week ago. A wonderful Christmas card. We love it. We Three Kings from Orient are. Yeah, it's a great thing. But anyway, I just wanted to show you that package. I am just thrilled to own an old-time railroad toy. An old-time railroad toy. But it holds great importance to me. I love trains. I have owned and built model railroads that operated in the tradition of real railroads. Trains that would wind through mountains and wind through and around cities. One model was 14 feet long and 3.5 feet wide. Sometimes it was hard to reach way back in the back, but I fixed that. I fixed a hole in the back mountain of the railroad that I could carefully lift up to repair any track that may get damaged or if a train car derailed. So that's how I got to the other side of the railroad without having to destroy it. It was a great thing. Most of my model railroads were 6 to 8 feet long and about 2.5 feet deep. Wonderful thing. I don't have all the railroad cars like I used to. I had 30 or 40, maybe even 50 different railroad cars. I don't even have that anywhere near that. I have maybe 10 or 12 cars and a few locomotives. But it means everything to me. My dad's father worked for the Union Pacific in Pocatello, Idaho. I was born in Pocatello and I lived there for 10 or 11 of my formative years. I saw the rail yard where my grandfather worked. He was a blacksmith for the Union Pacific. He repaired cars and made new parts for different cars and locomotives. I want to say about 1999, 24 years ago, I visited the Orange County Railroad Museum in Paris, California. While I was there, I saw a 1950s locomotive, a steam locomotive. And on a plaque on the side of the locomotive, they said it ran between Pocatello and Salt Lake City, carrying passengers and freight between Pocatello, Idaho and Salt Lake City, Utah. So I did some checking. As it turns out, the Union Pacific and all of the rail lines in America keep valued history to the little thin line. They can tell when a locomotive or a railroad car was being worked on. Or if it was damaged beyond repair, they talk about that and the date and time when that happened. In my grandfather's case, my dad's father, he worked on that 1950s steam locomotive that was sitting on a siding at the Orange County Railroad Museum. I had a picture one time of that. If anybody ever goes over to the Orange County Railroad Museum in Paris, California, if you see that locomotive, if you see it, please take a picture of it. I would still like to have a picture again through divorces and traveling around. I don't have that picture any longer. But I love locomotives. I love train cars. I love walking down tracks looking for mementos that may have fallen off a train or damaged track that they've cast off to the side that might be a memento to keep. I used to have some railroad spikes that had dates on them. I had a railroad spike from San Diego with the date of 1893. I saw it on a rail line just south of downtown San Diego. And I picked it up. And I kept it for a great many years. Those are the kinds of things I love. History. I love history. So that's what I do, guys. I just wanted to explain that. I love those kinds of things. I had a railroad lantern that my ex-wife kept. That railroad lantern belonged to my grandfather, my dad's father. Somebody else has it now. It was that antique lantern that had gas in the bottom of it, and they lit a little lantern wick inside the lantern, and the gas kept the firelight going. I had that, and my ex-wife kept it from me and refused to give it back. Those are the kinds of things I love. Okay, just to give you an idea. My mother's father, actually my stepfather, my mother's stepfather, he was really the only grandfather that I knew. He also worked for the San Diego, Atchison, Topeka, Santa Fe Railway in San Diego. He was an engineer and told me stories. I used to have an engineer's Bible that the engineers used to keep with them, with radio codes when they came to have radios, and other things that they needed to know about the locomotives they were driving. That's gone too. It even had my grandfather's name in it because he put his name in it. It's gone. But I love those kinds of things. I lived it. I really lived it. Lisa Spencer, welcome to the program today. We appreciate you. Sister Gabriella, welcome. She says she's waiting for a taxi at a Walmart in Hilo, Hawaii. Thank you for being here. We appreciate you. Anyway, just so you know, I want to talk about earthquakes all over the world. I want to talk about earthquakes and volcanoes in Hawaii tonight. I want to talk about Iceland. The first thing I want to do is talk about Iceland, though, just to give you an idea. See that yellow, seemingly a ball, down in the Central Pacific or the North Pacific? Folks, that is a magma plume deep under the ground that is feeding the volcanoes around the Atlantic Ocean, the Atlantic Plate, both in Europe and in Africa, and also on the eastern continental divide here in the eastern United States. A huge magma plumes down there feeding the volcanoes. In this case, it's feeding the volcanoes in Iceland. Now, I'm going to take this picture on the far left side of this slide I'm showing you. I'm going to enlarge it so you can see what I'm talking about. I think it's important to understand why that slide is there and what it's telling us. Folks, On the west side of Iceland, we have the North American plate. On the east side, we have the Euro-Asian plate. Iceland is being pulled in half. It's literally being pulled in half. I have told everybody about this over the past few weeks since the volcano erupted in Iceland. I thought it was very important that people understood what's going on. Let me show you something even more telling about what's going on there. Okay, this is what I'm talking about. Iceland is being torn apart. One of the reasons we've had fissures open up in Iceland is simply because of the two plates that are moving. The Atlantic plate is widening, and as a result, Iceland is being torn apart. The northern end of the Atlantic plate cuts directly through Iceland. It starts over there in the south at the Reykjanes Peninsula, and it continues flowing northeast to north to directly north, and then it flows to the northwest after it leaves Iceland. It's tearing the country apart. One of the reasons they've had so many fissures opened up is because of the tectonic plate movement here. But coupled with the magma beneath the surface, it's opened a whole new book of the works of the tectonic plates. Nobody even realized this was happening until a few years ago. There was hypothesis about it. Well, this might be happening, we don't know. Now we do know. They have mapped it with satellites. They've mapped it with above ground, underground, seeking LIDAR, radar. They know what's going on now, and it's very apparent. One day, Iceland may be two different countries, part of Iceland. It might be separated by a waterway or completely separated by the Atlantic Ocean. We don't know what's going to happen or when it's going to happen. But this is one of the reasons that Iceland is having problems. Volcanic eruptions that we talked about last Monday, a week ago Monday. Huge fissure opened up. Huge fissure opened up. 4.3 kilometers long, over 3 miles long. And it had fresh lava at the top of the cones. Fresh lava that still appeared 2 days ago. The lava has stopped flowing again, for now. The scientists and the authorities don't even know what to think at this point. They really don't. Nobody has a clue what's going to happen next. That's why we're talking about this. It's very important. Right now, there is snow all over Iceland again. It started snowing a week ago, right after the fissures opened up with live lava flowing across the landscape. In this particular picture to the right of it, you can see one of the fissures that opened up in Grindavik. This is just one of many fissures that opened up. We've talked about this. Look at this. This is another such fissure that opened up. They built a bridge over the fissure. I've even seen some of the fissures that opened up with water in them. A lot of water and people swimming in the fissure. Now, I wouldn't want to get caught swimming in the fissure if all of a sudden there was a great earthquake and the fissure opened up even wider. Who knows what would happen if you were swimming in the water near that fissure. But folks, I'm not joking about this. The people in Iceland, the authorities, the scientists, the USGS people that they've asked to come over and make a melding of minds about what might be happening, nobody really knows. This is absolutely new science. This is absolutely new science. People don't know. People honestly don't know. And as a result, a week ago tomorrow, December 23rd, the authorities in Iceland gave the people that lived in Grindavik a green light to return to their homes. Because of that, we now have people living back in Grindavik. Some of these roads are not repaired yet. They're in the process. Some other homes have been knocked out off of their foundations like we've reported. There are cracks in walls. Apartment buildings that people had lived in have cracks right down the middle of the building. Some of those buildings can no longer be lived in. What are people going to do? That is still up in the air. Except for money that came from the government. That is what people have been living on. Come sometime in January, that money is going to be cut off. The authorities and the residents of Grindavik are hoping that the insurance that they were paying dearly for is going to cover the rebuilding of their homes or the repair of their homes and be able to give them money to live on. But, as I reported to you the other day, the insurance companies have now said that if anyone's home has been damaged beyond repair, that the people that own that home have to pay for the complete demolition of the home, and then what other money they have left after the demolition has been completed and the damaged home carted off to a landfill, whatever money might be left, the family can use it whatever they want to. How much money is going to be left? Nobody knows. Nobody knows even how much money they're going to get paid. During the past few weeks since November 7th, when the earthquake started rattling Grindavik, and the authorities called Grindavik an emergency disaster and made a move out. They evacuated Grindavik. People moved in with their relatives or whoever else would take them outside of Grindavik. Now they're left people back into Grindavik. The bad thing about this, the authorities that were there keeping Grindavik evacuated and the homes and property safe from looters, those authorities have now left Grindavik. They're no longer around. They were working literally 24/7 to protect Grindavik. Now the government in Iceland has termed it no longer an emergency declaration where they have to leave. Yet. They let the people back in. But now they're just calling it a dangerous risk. a dangerous risk, allowing people into their homes under a dangerous risk from further earthquakes or volcanic eruption. This is bad. Now there's only a handful of police left around the Greenvik area. There are not many authorities left in case they have to evacuate Greenvik again. There literally are no emergency sirens except on cars or fire engines or ambulances. In the event of a earthquake damaging, opening up the ground again in a way of a fissure, or magma erupting underneath the ground in Greenvik, people are only going to get maybe a matter of minutes or even seconds notice before something does happen in Greenvik. We've been talking about volcanoes for a very long time on this program. We talked about magma uplift. Magma uplift. The other day I showed you a magma reservoir beneath the power station in southern Iceland, there on the Reykjanes Peninsula. The ground where the power station is has been rising up. Magma infill has infiltrated the ground, pushing the ground up at about 3 centimeters a day, about an inch a day. At some point in time, the area where that power plant is sitting could literally explode in of it by itself. I told you that the authorities have now built a concrete wall and around the power station and the Blue Lagoon to keep it safe. If the volcano erupts underneath the power station, all bets are off. The power station provides electricity for the entire island of Iceland to 386,000 people that live in Iceland. It also provides hot water for everyone that lives in Iceland. If that power station is damaged, all bets are off. The spa has had a wall built around it. They're hoping at some point in time to allow the Blue Lagoon to reopen. At the present time, nobody knows. Literally. The Blue Lagoon has been closed since a week ago Monday. A week ago Monday they back up, only for several hours before they closed it again when the fissures erupted. The same day the fissures erupted, they opened the Blue Lagoon back up and immediately closed it back down. Now it's still closed. People are not allowed to go anywhere near there. But folks, this situation is real. Those poor people in the Reykjanes Peninsula area, both at Greenvik and the surrounding area, Svartsenga, nobody knows what's going to happen. They literally have no firm idea what's going to happen from one minute to the next. I want to tell you about it because this constitutes an emergency. We have talked about this for a very long time. We told you when an emergency was threatening someone's life that we would discuss it. That's why I'm giving you this information today. Some of you may also have distant relatives that live here in Iceland. You may also have friends that have visited there and stayed. I have a friend of mine in Provo, Utah, who lives in Provo, Utah. He visited Iceland just 3 years ago. He went to all the volcanoes. But folks, this is going to happen. We do expect another major eruption on Iceland. We also expect to have a major eruption over in the Pacific Northwest. And I'm primarily talking about Washington and Oregon. Specifically, Mount Rainier, Mount Baker, Mount St. Helens, and Mount Hood. Yes, I showed you seismograms from Sisters Volcano that is south of Mount Hood. Yes, it has a lot of activity, but the activity is not what it used to be even 2 months ago. The activity is lessened. I believe there's been more and more magma that has gotten itself to Mount Hood, Mount St. Helens, and Mount Rainier. And for some part, also Mount Baker. Okay? It's going to happen. I can guarantee you that it's going to happen. When is a different story. Nobody knows. Now, before I go anywhere else, yes, we're going to talk about Southern California in just a few minutes. I want to now talk about Hawaii. See this earthquake here? This orange orb that sits here just southwest of Hilo. Folks, this was a 4.4 magnitude earthquake over here on the Big Island, just about 100 miles southwest of Hilo. Okay? People felt it all over, from the eastern side of the Big Island down to the south end. And they may have even felt it over on the west end too. We haven't had a 4.4 magnitude earthquake in Hawaii for a very long time. It happened yesterday. It happened yesterday. Lisa Spencer's here in the chat saying exactly what I'm saying. We are getting ready to have a volcanic eruption, and people need to be prepared for it. It's not a matter of if, it's when. Literally when. We've had volcanic eruptions over in the Philippines. We've had numerous volcanic eruptions over in Indonesia. We've had volcanic eruptions over in Japan, southern Japan, and over in Honshu, Japan. They keep happening. Why? Because that's what the volcanoes in that area do. In Japan, you can guarantee to have an eruption somewhere in Japan about every 2 to 3 months, sometimes more frequently. Indonesia is a different story. For example, over in south central Indonesia, there is an island called Halmahera, Indonesia. There are 2 volcanoes over there. One of them is called Dukono. Dukono volcano erupts over there in Halmahera, Indonesia every day. A 7,000 foot high eruption every day. Every day. It does not stop. It doesn't stop. We have seen volcanoes erupting all over South America. 3 in Chile. 3 in Ecuador. 1 in Colombia. We have 1 volcano in Nicaragua. We have a volcano over in Costa Rica. We have 3 volcanoes in Guatemala. We have 1 main volcano over in southeastern Mexico, southeast of Mexico City, Popocatépetl. Popo for short. Popo has been erupting off and on every few days, with magma, or not magma, but lava flowing down the side of the volcano, and lava bombs being thrust out from the inside of the volcano, rolling down the hillsides. If someone is on the hill, they get hit by that lava bomb, they may not live. The lava bombs come out flowing down out of the volcano, 2,000, 3,000, 5,000 degrees Fahrenheit. It's not fun. They evacuated villages after villages around Popocatépetl this year. And they're still evacuating people now. Because when Popo stops erupting, everybody thinks, oh, I can go home now. Wrong. The primary way to make money over there in southeastern Mexico is agriculture. They raise vegetables, they raise animals to sell at market. And this is what they have going on all the time. Volcanoes are going to erupt. You can guarantee it. Alaska. We talked about Great Sitkin Volcano the other day. We talked about Wardell Volcano over in southeastern Alaska, getting ready to erupt, showing signs of eruption, not just earthquakes, but steam and a light dusting of ash up at the summit of the volcano. Kananga Volcano in Alaska has been getting ready to erupt for a while now. It's not the only one. Tanaga Volcano and a great many others throughout the Aleutian Islands as well. Mount Redoubt about a year ago erupted, and it's just southeast of Anchorage. So we know what's happening. Kamchatka Peninsula on the western side of the Aleutian Islands. They have 4 volcanoes that have erupted just this year. Last year, one of those volcanoes erupted up to 87,000 feet high, way up in the stratosphere and out into space. USGS denied it happened. I guess it was 3 years ago. USGS denied it happened. They told me and told others about me that I didn't know what I was talking about. We got some of our information from Volcano Discovery and a lot of other information from various sources. Yes, that volcano did erupt. It did erupt up to 85,000 feet high. By the time the USGS finally admitted that that volcano had erupted, the ash was already over Alaska and into northern Canada. This is why I want everybody to know what's going on. When a volcano lights up like that, we will be on the air to tell you about it after it happens, because we feel that you have a right to know what's going on and to be able to exercise your right to take whatever measures you need to protect yourselves and your families. That's absolutely the truth. That's what we do here. It's not like some broadcasters on YouTube or anywhere else that tell you what's going on, but that's all. We have an obligation to know what's going on. We have an obligation to help people prepare, to make sure you have the information you need to make solid, good decisions on what you're going to do with the information. You're going to shelter in place like we talked about before, or bugging out. Thursday afternoon at 4 p.m., I was doing a radio show that I've been asked to do now for 3 weeks, every Thursday afternoon at 4 p.m. on People for People Radio. People for People Radio. You can find it on the internet. You can also listen to my programs on Rumble under Emergency Management Associates. Those programs are on the air. I talked a great deal about preparedness issues on People for People Radio yesterday. I also told everybody what's going on with Iceland and with other volcanoes and the other storms, as well as the earthquakes. And then I launched into a bunch of things about preparedness and why they needed to prepare and what they needed to do. That's what we give you every day. Every day. Don Patoga says knowledge will not save your life unless you put it into action. That is exactly what we want to do. Making sure you have the information and you can put it into action. Without that, it's useless information. Okay? It really is. Garrison Tellis says don't get too comfortable. I echo that sentiment. If you get too comfortable, everything that's going to happen is going to open up in front of you. And if you're sitting there in your easy chair and you don't realize what's going on, it's going to blow you away. And then you tell me or whoever that's broadcasting, why didn't you tell me about it? Well, guess what? I don't want anyone to ever tell me that. We've been talking about this for 4.5 years now. We first came on the air on April 3rd, 2019. This coming April 3rd, 2024, it will be 5 years. We're short of 5 years by 4 months. Over 4.5 years we've been putting out information, giving you all information that you can use and need. A lot of people who watch this program have delved deep into what's happening. And some of you are even more wise than I would even give you credit for, unfortunately. I believe in you. I love what you're doing, helping other people. That's what we do here on the Emergency Management Associates family. We help other people. Anyway, I showed you what's going on over here in Hawaii. That earthquake that hit yesterday, that was felt over a greater part of the island. USGS had it as a 4.4. It may have been even larger than that. I'm saying may have been. I don't trust the agency. I don't trust the agency any further than I can throw them. North of Kilauea is a 2.3 earthquake, just north of Kilauea. There's more. Over on the southern flank of Mauna Loa, this is a 2.2 earthquake. On the southeastern flank of Mauna Loa, a 2.2 earthquake. And that's not all. Let's go over to Pahala. Pahala is over on the southeastern side of the Big Island, south of Kilauea. You see a lot of earthquakes here. That large earthquake that you're seeing is a 4.36. A 4.36 down there in Pahala. USGS called this a Kilauea earthquake. It was not. It was down in Pahala. I'm showing you this to show you that it really was where I say it was. USGS saying it was at Kilauea, they are lying through their frickin' teeth. Pahala is the distribution center for all the magma coming into the Big Island of Hawaii. There is a huge magma plume down in the southern Pacific, south and east of Tonga and Samoa, way down there. The magma plume down in the southern Pacific comes up from the center of the earth. The magma is being distributed through magma tunnels through the crust around the globe, around the entire earth. In this instance here, the magma comes up from that deep plume in the South Pacific and it's distributed up here to Pahala. Then, like a gas station, the magma comes through Pahala and goes out to Mauna Loa, Kilauea, out to the fissures over in the East Rift Zone, the Fern Forest and Leilani Estates area. Yes, there's still fissures out there. In 2019, when the magma in Kilauea and Pu'u'o drained out, for several days scientists wondered why and where it went. After 2 or 3 days, all of a sudden scientists realized, because 24 fissures started opening up in Fern Forest and Leilani Estates area. 1,500 homes were completely demolished by red hot lava. Many of them either burned or were completely covered by the lava that was extruding itself all over the landscape in the Leilani Estates and the Fern Forest area. Some of those fissures are now termed volcanoes. They have cones, they have craters, and they have actually been named names by the people of Hawaii. They've been named. So we have a lot more volcanoes than we used to think we had. But the magma goes through magma channels or magma tunnels underneath Pahala and goes out to the various volcanoes, Kilauea, Mauna Loa, and even east of there to a place called Mauna Kea. Mauna Kea. Who would have thunk that this could happen? Who would have happened? I'm showing you now a slide from a volcano over on the western side of Hawaii. Waialae Volcano. Waialae Volcano is not like the other volcanoes over on the Big Island. Waialae Volcano doesn't have the magma that the other volcanoes do. Up at the top part on the right hand side where you see that blue button, I took a screenshot of this area to show you the volcanoes. This blue button is where Mauna Kea is. In a few minutes I'm going to show you the seismogram from every one of the volcanoes around Hawaii. Mauna Kea has just as much action going on as Mauna Loa does. And Kilauea beats all of them. Waialae has very little going on at Waialae. Let us delve into the seismograms here on the Big Island. We have not done this for a while. I want you all to know what's going on. Okay? I showed you that earthquake that hit west of Hilo. This is a seismogram from the west of the island. Now I'm going to make this smaller so you can see what I'm talking about. Okay? It's not quite small enough yet. Why am I doing this? Folks, we have EMA family living on Hawaii. Just like what happened with the fire on Maui. We were on top of that throughout the entire time it was burning, and even after that. After this weekend, I'm preparing a special on what happened over on Maui. The special is probably going to last at least an hour. But you will have up-to-date information about what happened there with that fire, regardless of what the authorities say. What I'm going to show you is evidence of what they did. I'm talking the politicians over on the Big Island and over on Maui. Every one of them are complicit. This earthquake that happened today, I'm showing you right now, this was a tremor. Okay? This is just west of Hilo. Not more than 100 miles west of Hilo. Southwest of Hilo. This is a good-sized tremor. This tremor lasted a minute, 60 seconds. At the height of the tremor, it was at least 1.5, 1.6 tremor. A tremor. Okay? No damage here. But look here on the seismogram. The activity was high for a very long time. Many, many hours since this came out. This seismogram came out at 1200 hours yesterday afternoon. Look at the time period that it covers here, where there's a lot of seismic energy. Menacing Muskrat is asking a question. When Jesus said there would be earthquakes in diverse places, did he explain as to why? Not really. Menacing Muskrat, if you remind me towards the end of this program, I will explain that to you for everybody. That is an interesting concept that everyone should know. So we will talk about that. Down here, after several more hours elapse, with less magma coming into the volcano here. Okay? Look what happens. The seismic energy starts increasing again. The seismic energy started increasing again. My dear friend Laura from Oregon is here. Thank you, Laura, for being here. We appreciate you very much. A very, very dear friend from long, long time ago. We've been friends for more years than I want to even admit to. But that's a seismogram that's just south and west of Hilo. Let's look at others here. I'm going to go one to another to another. I want to drop down to Kilauea next. Okay? We're going southwest from Hilo here, where that earthquake hit. We're going to show you what happened here at Kilauea. Okay? Again, let me enlarge this for you so you can understand what happened. This seismogram started being recorded by the seismograph at about 1300 hours, 1 p.m. yesterday, Hawaii time. Look what we're seeing. For the first few hours, there were just nothing more than microquakes, and even less after that, until 1730 hours yesterday evening. 1730 is 5:30 Hawaii time. Laura Marie says, it's a pleasure. Yes, a lot of years. Yeah. Anyway, look what happens after 6 p.m. yesterday evening, 1800 hours. More and more magma came over here to Kilauea from Pahala. The lines get thicker. More and more magma pours into Kilauea. These lines get thicker, don't they? Look at this. Look what happened just after 7 a.m. this morning. Look at that. The lines are so thick it obliterates, or the blue color obliterates the white paper. Yes, this is a digital photograph of the seismogram. This is a digital copy, it's not paper. I call it paper just for results here so you understand what's happening. A lot of magma poured into Kilauea, didn't it? Early this morning, 7 a.m. It actually really started about 1 a.m. this morning. Then at 7 a.m. it really got going here. It almost completely obliterated the background of the seismogram. That's how much magma came pouring into Kilauea this morning. Now with that said, let me make this small and let me show you another seismogram from Kilauea. We can't help but show you what's happening. It makes good news. It makes great conversation. But more than that, it gives you information to realize that Kilauea is nothing short of a monster on a leash. Nothing short of a monster on a leash. Why am I saying that? If you look at this seismogram here, you can see the magma pouring in here. Kilauea has been erupting for a very long time. It'll stop fountaining in Kilauea for a while. And all you'll see is steam, or SO2 and CO2, coming up from the caldera, meaning there's still magma down beneath the floor of that volcano. The caldera is the top of the lava that has hardened. It may have not hardened completely because the gases are still escaping. And in some cases, the scientists at the Hawaii Volcanic Observatory can see an orange luminescence coming from the caldera. It's not quite hardened. It's not quite stopped. Just when they think it stops, all of a sudden it starts erupting again. That's where we're at today. Let me show you a picture of Kilauea today. Let me blow this up. Okay? Look over on the north side of Kilauea. That is the caldera. The lava floor where the lava has hardened. But it hasn't hardened sufficiently to stop steam from coming up beneath the volcano, beneath the caldera. It's still wet lava. Hot, wet, scalding hot lava. 2, 3, 4, 5,000 degrees. Look where the caldera has come up to. In 2019, the lava and the magma went deep back into the earth. Kilauea and Pu'u'o drained out. You couldn't see any lava anywhere. The interior of the volcano went down several miles. We couldn't see anything but rock where the past caldera had fallen into the crater. With no magma down beneath the caldera collapsed. and all there was left was a huge rubble pile at the bottom of Halemaumau crater, Kilauea. That you might not have even known that volcano is called Halemaumau crater. Okay? Now you see that the lava has risen up to within about 100 or 200 feet from the very rim of the volcano. And you can see the steam rising from the caldera floor. SO2, sulfuric gas, and CO2, carbon dioxide. That's what magma releases, toxic gases. Now, Kilauea has never, in a lot of years, I can't say never, but in a lot of years it has never had an explosive eruption. Maybe 100 years, maybe longer. I don't remember exactly when, but it was a very long time ago. It hasn't had an explosive eruption. It's had fountaining going on, more and more magma pouring into the caldera, raising the caldera floor up. Any magma that is beneath the caldera is hot. And if the magma had come up over the caldera floor like we see here, it would have been hot enough to melt this volcanic cold rock that had solidified. And it's returned to a more liquid, viscous self. But now that caldera is just a matter of a short while from reaching the top rim of the volcano right now. How long would it take for that to go over the rim? We don't know. It could happen. Scientists didn't even realize how fast it was coming up. They've been as surprised as anyone. Literally. Hurricane Heather says it's a beautiful volcano. Laura Marie from Oregon, she and her husband have family over in Hawaii. One of her sons, her grandkids, live on the Big Island. They have visited Pahala. They have visited Kilauea. They probably visited all of the volcanoes around Hawaii here. She knows this. She sent us pictures and short letters telling us what was going on. Not just with the volcanoes, but her family, who I love to pieces. They're like my own kids. I know so much about them. Not everything, but I know enough. You can't help but love that family. Honestly. But this is what's happening at Kilauea. Now, let's take a look at another from Kilauea. Okay? This seismogram is UWB, coming from the UWB seismograph. I want you to look and see what this seismogram is telling us. Okay? Again, this seismogram started cooking at 12:30 yesterday afternoon. We had some tremors, and we also had some earthquake, didn't we? Most assuredly we did. 1.5, 1.9 tremors, 2.0, 2.3, 2.4 tremors. But look at what happened at 15:15 hours yesterday afternoon, Hawaii time. 15:15 hours is 3:15 Hawaii time. Look at that earthquake. Remember me telling you that there was a 4.4 earthquake? That's what this is showing. Okay? They cut off the top and they cut off the bottom. Look at the amount of time that earthquake, Kilauea. What started it? Magma beneath the surface started it. They cut off the top and they cut off the bottom. This earthquake lasted about 2 minutes, maybe a little bit longer. Out to the right of there, that dark blue square there is representing the amount of primary waves. Back-to-back primary waves. Seismic waves. Too bad they don't have the huevos to show exactly what's happening and stop hiding information. Again, hiding information is termed lying. It's determined to be lying. Keeping information from the truth is not just against the law. It's against a moral code that I try to live by. I'm not going to hide information. When I was a police officer, and I've told this story before, some of you may have heard this, but I mean business. If I had been a police officer and this happened, and I got called to take a report because someone was injured from this earthquake, and USGS handed me this, I'd march right back in to the chief USGS seismologist and I would say, what the hell is this? You're not showing exactly what happened here. They don't want anybody to know the truth. They said it was a 4.4 earthquake. Well, golly gee whiz, guys, a 4.4 earthquake. This may have been larger. Why am I saying that? Look on the right side of that dark blue square there. Out to the right, we have almost 2 minutes of secondary wave. I've talked about primary wave, which you see the seismic signals at the height of what they deemed the earthquake. This, they're hiding it. They're hiding the primary waves. They're showing us how long the ground shook. Then they're showing us the secondary wave out to the right. Folks, almost 2 minutes of secondary wave. This earthquake was larger than they're showing. This could have been a 5.0. I'm just telling you, it could have been a 5.0 earthquake. Authorities on the island, people on the island, reported feeling this earthquake, and they said it shook very violently. A large earthquake would feel just like that. Okay? It happened because there's magma coming into the volcano. Okay? Magma coursing through the underground tunnels, the undersurface tunnels, where the magma has been flowing from Pahala to Kilauea to Mauna Loa, Mauna Kea, and Hualalai. Okay? You can see it here. And it's not just that earthquake. Look at the other earthquakes and tremors here. Look at this. After midnight, we hardly have anything going on. Folks, volcanoes are always volcanoes. Yes, they have points when they're not active like they were earlier. Even we have times where we don't act like we normally act during the day. In the middle of the night, we sleep. Magma doesn't sleep. Magma doesn't sleep. It's always active. But again, they're not showing us anything. So we have to assume that nothing was going on. I don't believe that because we, in the daylight hours, early last night, and we see a very large earthquake or possibly a very large earthquake, and a bunch of small tremors and earthquakes. 3.0, 3.9 are considered to be small earthquakes. And yes, we're seeing that here. Okay? When we go throughout the night, our sleeping hours, 2, 3, 4, 5, even 6 to 7 hours, they don't want to show us anything, do they? It happened after 7 a.m. today. Look at this. We have an earthquake that happened at 7:28 a.m. this morning. We had a smaller tremor before that, and then a minute later we had this good-sized earthquake. By just looking at what it says here, looking at the height of this earthquake, we would think it would be a 2.7, 2.8 earthquake. Folks, they've cut off the bottom and the top of this. We also have a good-sized secondary wave here. The secondary wave lasted about 45 seconds. So instead of having a 2.5, 2.6, 2.7 earthquake, folks, this may have been a 3.0, 3.5. I'm just saying, I'm just looking at the data here. They've given me this data, so I get to make up my own mind. You do too. Those of you in Hawaii, you have the right to make up your own mind when you see this information. What are they not, or what are they showing us? Okay? What happened after 11 a.m. yesterday? Look at all that magma pouring into Kilauea there. Okay? Completely obliterating the line with color. That is heavy-duty magma pouring into the volcano. Magma pulse signals. Magma infill signals here. Look at that magma coming into the volcano. That's serious magma. Serious active information that you all need, that you all deserve to have, especially those of you that are over on the Big Island. You need to have information that you can put together a plan with, a plan that may save your life and the lives of the loved ones you have around you. Okay, that was Kilauea. Let's go over to Leilani Estates, okay? The East Rift Zone today, the last 24 hours. This is Leilani Estates, guys. Leilani Estates. Look here. We have the same kind of information here in Leilani Estates. A lot of magma coming into the volcano. A lot of magma coming over into the fissures around Leilani Estates, the East Rift Zone of the Big Island. Look at this earthquake. This earthquake happened at 3:32 p.m. yesterday. 3:32 p.m. yesterday. Look at the other tremors here. Yes, we do have significant seismic data here. Again, we almost have a large rectangle that we can see here. Light blue and dark blue. We also have a secondary wave out to the right. In this case, the secondary wave goes out to the right for about 2 minutes. This earthquake that happened yesterday afternoon was at least a 3.5, 4.5 earthquake. Just this one here. We've had numerous earthquakes. Why are USGS not reporting everything going on? Your guess is as good as mine. because these are USGS seismograms. They monitor their own seismic machines, the seismographs, over here on the Big Island and all over Hawaii. They monitor the seismographs. They cut off the bottom and the top so we cannot see exactly how strong quakes are. But we know what's going on because we studied it. The secondary wave tells us a lot of the story. Then, if we have the ability to see the seismogram like we should, we can look at the secondary wave and we can look at the body wave. That will really be the data we need to have to say, oh, this was this size of an earthquake, not what they're trying to pull over on us. Okay? I'm just saying. Look at the rest of this seismogram here. Literally nothing going on. I believe they turned down the machine again because we don't have the kind of data after that. All the way into 12:30, 12:45 this afternoon, we don't have all the data that we need to make any kind of opinion about what may have gone on. Because they turned down the machine. I am almost 100% reliable on that information. They turned it off. They have no intention on telling us what's going on. This is the Big Island. This is the Big Island. Leilani State's right here. Let me pull this down so you can see it. Okay, I just showed you this. I'm sorry. I just showed you that. This kind of shows it too. This is a different seismograph over in Leilani Estates. Okay? But you can see what happened. It's unreal. I am hoping, beyond hope, that the people living to the east and to the west and to the north have their crap together. I am hoping that people have listened to me enough over the years that they have a good idea of what's going on. Some of these people, and I know they have, some of these people, Hawaii Volcano Tours, for example, they monitor the seismograms. They're pretty knowledgeable of what's going on. They know what an eruption is. They know what happens when there's fountaining going on, and people like to see that. Hawaii Volcanic Tours goes over to Kilauea, Mauna Loa, and Mauna Kea, and even over to Hualalai. They're very knowledgeable people. But we can look at these seismograms too. Laura Marie and her husband John have family over here on the Big Island. One of their grandkids, I think it was a grandson, went to high school in Pahala. Okay? Look at all that activity here. And this is just part of it. I still believe they're not showing us exactly what's going on. And I don't believe they ever will. Honestly. I've been watching this for a very, very long time. I saw what happened when Kilauea erupted big time. Then I saw what happened when the caldera gave way. The magma left the caldera high and dry, and all of a sudden the weight of that caldera, the solid rock, fell into the bottom of the volcano. That's what happened. Do any of you have any questions about Hawaii? Laura says she has 2 grandchildren attending high school in Pahala. I'd be anxious knowing that my kids are in Pahala because they're feeling this seismic energy beneath their feet. They're feeling the magma course through the ground underneath their feet. I got an email from a woman, I believe she's in Oregon or Washington, that said they feel the ground move. That's because there are magma tunnels under their feet. And they're feeling the magma move through the magma tunnels. That's what you're feeling. I have perfect knowledge about that because I have spoken to many, many people that have told me this story. It's factual. It's factual. Now, again, this earthquake over in Hilo, southwest of Hilo, a 4.4 probably. It might have been larger. It might have been way larger. Let's go over into Southern California. This seismogram is coming to us from the Baldwin Hills oil and gas pumping operation just northwest of Los Angeles, the Baldwin Hills. This is the most activity that I've seen at the Baldwin Hills in several months. During the past few months, it barely shows anything going on. Some of you might look at this and say, oh, I don't see anything going on. There are some minor tremors in here, but what you're seeing is seismic activity at the pumping operation. It's not just pumps and jacks that we're looking at here. This is actual seismic information that we've gotten from seismographs over there in the Baldwin Hills oil and gas pumping operation. Pumps and jacks all over it. The tremors continue day after day after day, 24/7. 24/7. That's not all, folks. Let me go over to west of there into the Channel Islands. Look at this. You see a lot of tremors and microquakes here. Not so much microquakes, but 1.0, 1.2 tremors, and even up to 1.3, 1.4 tremors. Okay? This is out at sea, just west of Los Angeles. The Channel Islands, guys. All kinds of things happening there. Let's go eastbound over to Chino. Look at this. Chino's been acting up just like this for 8-10 months. Before that, it was hit and miss to have a tremor over in Chino. Not anymore. The tremors and earthquakes happen every day at Chino, 7 days a week. Rarely does it ever get less than this. Okay, Chino is very active with earthquakes. Okay, I want to go over to Del Amo. This is northwest of Los Angeles. Look what we're showing you here. There was a time even 2 or 3 years ago that Del Amo was lucky for us to even see a handful of tremors here. Now all you can see are tremors. All you can see are tremors. It's not like it was 2 or 3 years ago. This is every minute of every day. There are tremors going on. The colors here, black, red, blue, and green. Black is the top of the hour. midnight, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, whatever. The red line is 15 minutes past the hour on the left-hand side. Each line here represents a time period of 15 minutes. The ground continues to shake, doesn't it? On the 45-minute green line, look here, you can hardly see where the green is because there's so much activity, so many tremors happening. The ground continues to shake and doesn't stop. This is Del Amo. I'm going to show you quite a few seismograms like that. I'm going to go from Los Angeles south into North San Diego County. Then I'm going to go into San Diego City area and out to San Diego East County and then out to the Imperial Valley where we have that huge Salton Sea here. Today they're not hardly showing anything going on in the Imperial Valley. But that doesn't mean it's not happening. Okay? It doesn't mean that at all. Now, over here is Ellis, California. This is also northwest of Los Angeles. Look over here on this blue line to the right, near the top. This over on the left-hand side is 2:30 a.m. in the morning. Today, we come over here to the right. Okay? This would be 2:45 or 2:40 a.m. this morning. We had some tremors, didn't we? Then we go over about another minute and a half, and these tremors light up to be 2.0 earthquakes. There's at least one thick line here where it's at least a 2.2, 2.3, maybe a 2.4 earthquake. Is the seismograph turned down? Possibly. Possibly. We don't have any magma churn signals because this is seismic energy. We can't tell how much the seismograms have been turned down, meaning the seismographs have been turned down, and thus the seismogram isn't showing us what it normally would. This is important. This is very important. What you're seeing here after 2:40 a.m. this morning, and again down here after 12:40, I want to say 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 12:51 this afternoon on the green line. Folks, that is nearly a 3.0 earthquake, or it is a 3.0 earthquake. Okay? This is Ellis, California. You can see the ground swelling. You can see the earthquakes hitting. They're constantly moving. You're not going to see some 1.2, 1.3 tremors. You're probably not going to feel that. But the ground is moving underneath you in Los Angeles. Okay? There isn't one day go by that this isn't happening. This is not the San Andreas Fault. There are several hundred faults around the LA basin. These faults are always moving. I want to tell you that. They are always moving. Now, Ellis, California. This is important. Okay? Rob is back. That's awesome. Okay. Let's go down to Los Angeles. Let's even go further. Let's go over into Long Beach area. This is light height. Last week I showed you a seismogram that was almost completely colored like this. Early this morning, it was not as colorful as it was last week. Last week, there was almost no white available at all. Today, we see more white. But folks, the ground is still moving. This is constant tremor activity. 1.4, 1.5. Folks, there are a couple places here where we may have had 2 minor earthquakes, 2.0, 2.2 earthquakes. Here, Long Beach. Let's show you another. Okay? This is State Street over near Anaheim. The same kind of thing going on here, except at the top. There was less activity today at State Street than there was at Light Height. Both places, both seismographs recorded less activity in both places. But once the activity started here, just like Light Height, it continued full force. It continued full force. Los Angeles is shaking. In some cases, both of these areas here, and I can see what they're buffering bad. Rob 52 saying, has anyone else seen buffering? I see it in my monitor feed here. They're buffering this very, very bad. I just refreshed my monitor and it's a little bit better, but that's not saying anything. They don't want us to be showing this. Okay? Right now I have 2,676 kilobytes per second. It's dropped. It goes back and forth. Right now it's staying just about the same. But I will pay closer attention to it, because they're not telling us the truth either. I am paying good money to be able to show you what I'm doing, because I feel it's absolutely necessary that you have this information. And for them to be buffering me, for them to be cutting back on the bandwidth that I have paid for, that's a travesty. But folks, this is State Street over near Anaheim. It's moving. The ground is moving all over the place. You can't deny it anymore. They can't deny it. And if they're doing it, they're lying through their frickin' teeth. Let's look over at the city. This is the great big, tall location for Los Angeles City. The police work out of this building. There is an emergency command center in the basement of this building. Look what they're showing us. Very, very little. And actually, they're showing us more detail than they have been in the past few weeks. More and more tremors here. They hardly showed anything last week or the week before, and I don't think they've shown much of anything for months. But you can see the tremors still hitting every minute of every day. It's moving. The ground is moving under the city of Los Angeles. Earthquake faults, lava on the surface. What about that great big huge building where they call the tar pits? That hot tar is bubbling 24/7. There's magma down beneath the surface that is causing that to happen. Magma is also moving beneath the surface of Los Angeles. That is the cause of probably 30% of the earthquakes that we have here. Magma moving beneath the surface. Let me show you some more. Okay? Let's go out to Mariloma, just south of Loma Linda Medical Center. This is Loma Linda seismogram. We're seeing an uptick in tremor activity here. In the past few weeks and months, there have been increased seismic energy. We've actually seen 2.0, 2.5, and even 3.5 earthquakes happening here at Mariloma. It's wild. Did you know that the San Andreas is running just east of here? Part of this is the San Andreas Fault. The San Andreas Fault in Southern California is getting ready to split. And when it does, it's going to come apart. There's going to be billions of dollars in damage from the next earthquake here. Will it be another 6.9 earthquake like it was years ago? Is it going to be a 7.0, a 7.5, an 8.0 major earthquake? It's possible. It's possible. The San Andreas Fault in Southern California has not moved in, I want to say, 40 years. 40 years. We've seen seismic events down in the Imperial Valley, caused primarily by the San Andreas Fault. But what I'm telling you right now, it's just not the Imperial Valley either. It's Los Angeles. The San Andreas Fault runs on the eastern side of Los Angeles. It can set off all the other faults all over the LA basin. It can. It can. This is why that I believe that the Cascadia megathrust earthquake is going to reach all the way down to northern Mexico, because the Cascadia megathrust earthquake is going to trigger the San Andreas Fault. Then look out, especially down in California. The LA basin will be turned upside down. Riverside, let me show you Riverside here. Very little information coming out of Riverside. A year or so ago, there's more information coming out of Riverside than they're showing us now. Look at this. Nothing but microquakes and tiny tremors. Riverside. Months ago, there was long-lasting, larger tremors. Now they've turned down the seismograph that recorded this, or the amount of activity has lessened. I don't think so. The San Andreas Fault is still moving, regardless whether there's going to be a major earthquake any day now. And I'm going to say any day now. It can happen at any time, night or day. You people in Los Angeles better be aware of it. You folks in Los Angeles better be aware of it. I've talked to you on the Facebook Messenger. I've talked to some of you on the telephone. I know that some of you are really worried. You have a right to feel that way. Don't discount that feeling. Remember, preparation is strength. Preparation is strength. Not being prepared is falling in the situation Satan wants us to feel. Downtrodden, helpless. That is not what the Lord wants from any of us. The Lord wants us to be strong. The Lord wants us to be strong so that we can take care of ourselves and our families. That is what is the most important part of this whole message. To take care of ourselves and our loved ones. Okay, I'm showing this to you for a reason. to take care of yourselves and love the people that are with you. Mira Loma. Let's look at Moore Park is northwest of Los Angeles. I believe it runs over by the 710 freeway. Look at this. Tremor after tremor and earthquake after earthquake. Folks, maybe even 3.0 earthquakes here at Moore Park. Like I said, there are hundreds of other faults in the Los Angeles basin, and some connect to the other one. If the San Andreas Fault gives way on the eastern side of Los Angeles, Riverside, Hemet, Paris, California, and out into the desert areas, Needles, Victorville, you all are going to have your lights clicked on, and I'm not being facetious at all. You're going to wake up and go, what the heck just happened? My dear friend out in Victorville, she's such a wonderful lady. She and I live out there. Folks, that area is about to be destroyed. When the San Andreas Fault gives way, it's not going to anybody at all. Not at all. Are you aware of what's going on in your neck of the woods? In this, I'm going to just a few minutes here. But you need to see what's happening in San Diego. Is the San Diego Gas and Electric building over in Western City, Valley. Look at here. There are no full-blown earthquakes here at San Diego Gas and Electric. But you can see the tremors that are. The tremors here are caused as a result of the Rose Canyon Fault. The Rose Canyon Fault comes out of the harbor area around Los Angeles, Huntington Beach, that area. It comes out of there and goes out to the water. It follows the coastline of Southern California, all the way down to Encinitas, California, North San Diego County. Then the Rose Canyon Fault turns a little bit inland. It still follows the coastline of San Diego. That is what's powering this seismogram from San Diego Gas and Electric, what they call mission control. Mission control. San Diego is getting rocked. These are small tremors though. They have had larger earthquakes in San Diego Mission Control before. Let me take you, for time's sake, out to Cuyamaca High School. Cuyamaca High School is on the east side of San Diego County. On the east side of San Diego County. It sits at the top of the Chocolate Mountains. Wonderful thing. Wonderful thing. Right here. This is just small tremor activity. This is generated by the San Jacinto Fault. The San Jacinto Fault is responsible for this area. from Palomar Mountain to the northwest, all the way down the Chocolate Mountains. Okay? That's Cuyamaca High School. Cuyamaca High School has only been there a handful of years. Before that, there was nothing there. There are people that living in that area, Pine Valley, Julian, California, the Anza Brego Desert State Park area, people that live there. Most of them are transient. They have children going to high school. That's why they built Cuyamaca High School at the top of the Chocolate Mountains. You can see the seismic energy there at the top of the mountains. Now, I want to take and show you another seismogram. This is over in the Imperial Valley. Okay? Why do I want to show you that? Because, folks, what's going on over there has a great deal to do with the San Andreas Fault. Yes, there are a bunch of other faults all over the Imperial Valley, but the San Andreas Fault triggers them. We've reported on that area for a long time. We've seen it happen. Okay? Let's go over to the Salton City. This is over on the western side of the Salton Sea. All that's left there is a ghost town. All that's left there is a ghost town now. But what are you seeing here? These horizontal lines here. Your appears to be tremors. Yes, it is. It's caused by magma down beneath the ground, down in the crust of the earth. Magma coursing through the ground. That's what you see, long duration tremor signals here, caused by magma. Okay? Unreal. Uncaught and picking. And that's not all, folks. Guess what? There's more. There's a lot more. Just north of there, there's a town called Imperial. I'm sorry, just south of the Salton City. On the southern side of the Salton Butte volcano, the Salton Sea, is a town called Imperial. Look what we're seeing here. Again, we've seen more activity here before, but this is nothing to shake a stick at. This is still highly volatile seismic information here. These are tremors and minor earthquakes. Down at the bottom, especially on the green line there. On the left-hand side of the green line, it's 1:45 p.m. Over here, it's 5 minutes later, 1:50 p.m. today. 2.0 earthquake. 2.0 earthquake in Imperial the town of Imperial. We've seen 3.0, 4.0, and even 5.0 activity here in the Imperial Valley at the town of Imperial. I'm not joking. This is serious. This is very serious. Let me show you something else here. Okay? Over to the east from Westmoreland and northeast from the town of Imperial. What do we have there? It's Calipatria, a small town of Calipatria. Look what they're showing us or not showing us here. Last night, okay, last night is a good example here. Look what they're showing us. This seismogram started at 2:30 yesterday afternoon. Tremors and full-blown earthquakes up at the top left, just after, I want to say 12:47, or not 12:47, 2:47 p.m. Yesterday. It appears to have a 2.5, 3.0 earthquake at the top left. You see that red line there? The red line is generated by the computer to get the seismologist's attention. Hey, there's something going on here that you need to see. Otherwise, all the seismologists would say, oh, gee whiz, that's just tremor activity. No, it's not. It's not just tremor activity. There are also earthquakes here. Okay? The seismograph is on only until about 8:15 p.m. yesterday evening. Then they turn it off. You can see all kinds of tremors and 2 or 3 earthquakes, 4 earthquakes, 5 earthquakes. 5 earthquakes here. Minor earthquakes and probably close to a 3.0 at the top left, where you see that red line there. Okay? Then they turned off the seismograph. Why? Why did they turn off the machine? They turned off the machine until 7:35, 7:36 this morning. 13 hours it was off. Why? Inquiring minds want to know. Here, folks, over on the right-hand side, on the left, we see what looks to be a 2.0, 2.2 earthquake, minor earthquake. But over here on the right, it's another story. We see a red line going right through it. On the left side of there, we have a bunch of tremors building. Then we have the pinnacle of the primary wave, the earthquake. Out to the right, we have another secondary wave. This earthquake was at least a 3.0, not a 2.5, a 3.0. We can see the other information. They're only showing us information just after 2:15 this afternoon. They don't want us to know what's going on. We're seeing 2.5, 3.0 earthquakes here. After 10:30 this morning, you see a fairly thick red line here, computer generated. But underneath that, there's a thick blue line, cut off at the top and the bottom. I believe that was at least a 3.0. And over to the right after that, these thick red lines still appear. The agency does not appreciate or want us to know what's going on. They don't want the people of Westmoreland. They don't want the people in Imperial. They don't want the people over in Holtville. They don't want the people anywhere in the Imperial Valley to know what's going on. It's plainly simple. They've hidden information. They turned off the seismograph. Until 6 months ago, that seismograph was going 24/7. And there were earthquakes and tremors all over it. Now, there's 13 hours of blank. Nothing showing. Why not? Inquiring minds want to know. Over on the eastern side of the Salton Sea, The San Andreas Fault runs south down the eastern side of the Salton Sea. About 3/4 of the way south down the Salton Sea, you can look at the map. There's an indentation there. That indentation is a place called Bombay Beach. Bombay Beach. This is a seismogram I've shown you from Bombay Beach today. Up at the top is 5 a.m. Pacific time. Guess what? It looks to have a 3.0 earthquake moving at Bombay Beach. Then we also have a secondary wave after that. That reaches out another minute and a half. That's why I'm calling that a 3.0. There are also other 3.0s here as well, where they've cut off the top and the bottom of the earthquake signature, so as not to allow us to see exactly what happened. On other seismic signals here, they haven't cut it off. But again, we have 3.0 activity. And those earthquakes sometimes last 2.5 to 3 minutes long here. This is a heck of a lot of activity here. Some of this may be caused by magma down beneath the surface. Magma coming down to the southern end of the Salton Sea. The southern end of the Salton Sea is hiding the volcano. It's called the Salton Butte volcano. Buttes, because when there's a low water level there at the Salton Sea, you see a place where it looks to be fingers sticking up out of the ground. Fingers sticking up out of the ground. These fingers are calcium and sodium from not just the water, but also from the geysers that populate the Salton Sea, that form those calcite formations. Okay? The Salton Butte volcano. And yes, it has the possibility of erupting in a ferocious fashion. All the authorities tell us that. Why am I telling you that? Because of citizens of Imperial Valley to know this. So far, we've only had a couple, 3 people, members of the EMA family, that have frequented this channel. Juanito is one of them. He lives over in El Centro. Good old El Centro. Juanito is a good friend of ours. He sent us a few beautiful presents, including toys for our dogs that his wife sewed up for us. Beautiful small little toys that our dogs are now chewing on and throwing up in the air and catching them again. My kids are having a grand time with those toys that Juanito's wife sewed up. They also sent us some small Christmas presents for Carol and I. We appreciate that, Juanito. Thank you very much. Now, folks, why am I telling you this? Because every one of us need to be prepared. Every one of us. Folks, this is El Centro where Juanito lives. This is El Centro. See the movement here? All of this movement that you're seeing. You see the wave going up into the air. That is magma beneath the surface that is causing that. Magma beneath the surface that is causing earthquakes to happen. The other vertical lines here are actual earthquakes. 3.0, 3.5, 2.5. 2.0s. This is El Centro. This is not Navy aircraft landing or taking off. This is actually seismic energy. Some of it caused by magma beneath the surface, moving over to the Salton Butte volcano. Okay? Incredible information, guys. Now I'm going to stop talking about seismic information or science for a while. I want to give you a devotional tonight. Menacing Muskrat, earlier in this program, asked me a very good question. I'm right now going back to try to find that question. I think it's very important that we answer that. It has every good reason to be answered, and to be answered in a fashion where people will understand what was said. Folks, this is going on. Jesus Christ, I think the question was something, was Jesus Christ allowing these earthquakes to happen? The answer is partially yes, but not completely. The earth was made to move. The earth was made to move. We've talked to you about the seismic waves. We talked to you about the tectonic plates that are moving. They're always moving. Does Jesus Christ or our Heavenly Father have any say when a major or large earthquake hits? I don't think they have anything necessarily to say about it. They made the earth. Jesus Christ and Heavenly Father made the earth. The story is over in Genesis. Everybody here probably understands that story. The earth was without form or void, and darkness was on the face of the deep. The earth was formed out of elements in the universe. The earth did not just appear. The Lord Jesus Christ gathered the elements from the universe, and he made planets and set those planets to orbit the sun, and other planets and planetary moons and such were formed as a result of our Savior and his work. It happened. They formed the earth. The earth is moving constantly. Are they responsible for the tectonic plates moving? In a way they are. They formed it that way. Do they know when the earthquakes are going to happen? Possibly. Why are they allowing it to happen? Because you and I need to learn something from it. You and I need to learn to have faith in the Lord Jesus Christ. You and I need to understand where we're at in our life, where we're at in the great image of the plan of Jesus Christ, the plan that allows us to repent and return to our Heavenly Father. That's all part of the plan. Yes, we're going to have earthquakes. Yes, people have died before and during an earthquake. It's happened. Buildings collapse. The earth opens up and brings people into the void. It happens. Are they causing it? I don't think they are. The earth is moving. The earth is moving. There is evil on the face of the earth. If people were faithful, I think some of this could be stopped by the Lord. But there's a lot of evil in this world. And the Lord at some point in time, is going to say enough. And then everything is going to be turned upside down. Fact. This Sunday, the reason I'm telling you this whole story, one, it's true. But this Sunday, we're talking what happens after the apocalypse. The first few chapters of Revelations, John Beloved writes in very clear fashion how much the Lord loves us, what the Lord has done for us. The second third of Revelations talks about what happens to the people because they did not obey the Lord. Plain and simple, they did not obey the Lord. And things happened, didn't it? At one point, what happened to Noah? Noah was told by Jesus Christ in a vision that he needed to build an ark. I'm sure that he had his relatives and other people that laughed at him. Why are you building this huge boat? Why are you doing this? You're nuts. It's not raining here. It has not rained like that ever. All of a sudden, what happened? Noah's told to bring species, 2 of every sex, into the ark. That way, the species, humans and animals, would be able to procreate and life would go on the planet. He got the animals and his family into the ark. The rains started before that. The rains continued and they got worse and worse and worse. The ark floated and moved away from the area. The evil people on the earth were drowned. This is all part of the Lord's plan. In Isaiah and other books in the Bible, in the Old Testament, the Lord said that he would never destroy the earth by water again. The earth will be destroyed by fire. The earth will be destroyed by fire. Whether it's volcanic or otherwise, it will be destroyed by fire. The Lord is only going to allow this to happen for only a short time period. It may seem like a long period to us, but the Lord is only going to allow it to continue for a specified time period. Then the Lord is going to say enough. The Lord will say enough. I'm not going to put up with this any longer. Then the book will close. The book will close. We're going to have to learn a different way to survive. For some of us, we will be called back to heaven. Others of us will survive for a while longer. We'll survive to see Jesus Christ walk on this earth again. I am hoping to be one of those, as many of you. What do we need to do? We need to repent, each and every one of us. We need to make sure our lives are in tune with the Savior of the world. Then and only then is the Lord going to invite us back into his kingdom. The highest kingdom of the glory of God. Are you ready? Do you want this to happen? I do. Because the evil on the earth will be destroyed. There will be peace for a millennium, 1,000 years. Then Satan will be loosed for a very short time after that. Then he will be taken away, captive, by Heavenly Father and Jesus Christ. and the earth will be changed. The earth will be changed into paradisical glory. It will be beautiful. The Lord has told us there's many rooms in His mansion for all of us. I hope to be there with all of you. Don Patoka said this in the chat. I want to repeat it. Since time is immortal, one thing is constant: change. Humans are the most adaptive creatures on this planet. Be flexible. Adapt to the situations at hand. Life is frail. Handle with prayer. That is exactly what I'm asking you and telling you is going to happen today and in the future, the very short, distant future. Brothers and sisters, the Lord loves each one of us. I love each and every one of you. You all have found yourself to our Emergency Management Associates channel for a reason. We haven't come these long distances for nothing. As the prophet of the Lord said, we were called for a reason: to feed our souls. I know that. I believe I've been asked by Heavenly Father to do the things I'm doing and talk the way I'm speaking to you now. I was called here for a reason: to help each one of you return to our Father in heaven. No, this is not Sunday school. Sunday school will happen just after 12 noon this Sunday. I will be teaching you about the last few chapters in Revelation, through Revelations chapter 22. I hope to see you all there during Sunday school this coming Sunday. Come follow me, the Savior said. It's what we call our Sunday school class. I hope to see you this Sunday and every Sunday thereafter. We're going to be having some wonderful classes that I hope you all participate in. Wonderful classes that will help each one of us in our journey through life and our journey back to our Father in heaven. It's already 9:30. I didn't think I would be doing this. Almost 2.5 hours now. Folks, I know the Lord loves you. I know I love you. I'm here to give you information to help you. That's why I'm here. I don't lie. I don't cheat. I don't tell half-truths. I don't do that. I'm here for one reason: because the Lord wants me here. The Lord wants me to help you. That's why I'm here. I hope and pray that each one of you will continue on here with the EMA channel. Please, before you leave, if you haven't already done it, give us a thumbs up. That will help YouTube discern that yes, people are watching this channel, that this channel deserves more recognition, and more people here on YouTube will see it. YouTube falsifies data, just like the USGS. After the program's over, sometimes YouTube has said, oh, you've only had 7 people view the program. I go into the analytics, and there's 4, 5, 6, 700 people that have seen this program live. And YouTube says 7, 10, 27, 67, whatever the numbers are. What a farce. Even 24 hours later, it's not showing the truth either. But I know that you all are here, and that you're here for a reason. Do what the Lord asks us to do. Pay attention to what we've taught you, so that you will see the signs and know that God lives. God is hearing and answering our prayers. We talked about prayer last night. I hope you have a great weekend. I also hope that Sunday, New Year's Eve, could be a great day and evening for each one of us. Be gentle on yourselves. Take care of yourselves and take care of others with you. Be safe. I hope each one of you has a wonderful New Year. Yes, Monday we'll be back on the air for a very short time. I have a message I want to give you on Monday, New Year's Day. I hope you're there for that as well. But Sunday at 12 noon, please be here or come follow me. You will be blessed. God be with you now, brothers and sisters. God be with you until we meet again. Have a good night. If anything else happens tonight, we'll be back on the air to tell you about it as soon as the information becomes available. Until then, take care of each other. Love each other. We will see you around the other side. Good night, everybody.